al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed, al ha'torah va'al ha'avodah va'al gemilut chasadim. The world stands on three things: on Torah, on learning, on service, and on acts of loving kindness. If that's the case, if the world does stand on learning, on religious engagement, and on civil engagement, what about a community? What about a temple like Temple Beth Shalom? Well, in some sense, we also, every Jewish community stands on these things of learning, of service, religious service, and of action. But on whom does it stand? We can say that a Jewish community stands on these three things, but supervised by whom, cared for by whom? I suggest there are probably four pillars of a community like ours: clergy, staff, volunteers, and members. So those four pieces of the community, people, groups of people in the community: clergy, staff, volunteers, and members. They are the ones who help us implement those three pillars. I particularly want to focus today on volunteers. Because yes, clergy are important, I would say that. And yes, administrative staff are so important. We just couldn't get anything done without our amazing staff. And our members who turn up, who are present, who are connected to our community. Without you, the community wouldn't exist. But in particular today, I want to talk about the volunteers. There are two volunteers in particular who I want to really address today: Aaron Wolf and Fred Milder. In December, I was so run down that Aaron and Fred decided to lead every service during the month of January. Every Friday night service, they held for 5 weeks the community in prayer. And since then, they have been leading a service once a month. And that includes tonight's service. Aaron and Fred are going to be leading again from the temple sanctuary. Our hope is that next month, the final service of next month, is going to be all of us in the sanctuary together. So I do think that this is an important opportunity for us to thank Aaron and Fred in particular for their extraordinary contribution, their volunteerism, which has helped hold that second strand, ha'avodah, of service, of religious service. It's helped that continue throughout the beginning, from the first 6 months, I would say, of 2021. There are other volunteers I also think are definitely worth mentioning, and those are the volunteers who are putting forward their time and their skills for It Takes a Village. It Takes a Village is the program that helps all the young members in our community have activities over the summer. Some activities are coming back, some are not. So we thought we would run again that pastoral care program of fun activities that include nature walks, and they include design thinking and poetry writing and choose your own adventure books and lots of other exciting things, acting, drama workshops and so on, lots of other exciting things that are happening for the young members of our community. And it's the volunteers who are helping make that happen. And that, I believe, is the gemilut chasadim. That is the acts of loving kindness to help protect, to help really nourish our younger members throughout this year, particularly throughout the summer. And when it comes to Torah, well, we're all volunteers. In a sense, we volunteer our learning, we volunteer our presence at our Torah study, where tomorrow we're going to be looking at the book of Job, a very challenging book, and looking at what is God's role in evil and human suffering. That's not a topic we're going to finish tomorrow, but we are going to start it. So even though the world may stand, and even though the Jewish community may stand on Torah, on avodah and gemilut chasadim, on learning and on service and on acts of loving kindness, it's ultimately the volunteers who really help make that happen. And so this Shabbat, I encourage you to join Aaron and Fred this evening for their service, because it's a wonderful service of new tunes and new liturgy. It really is wonderful, and if you haven't experienced it, I really hope that you do. And if you are a family, if you're part of a family with young children, I really encourage you to look at everything that's being offered by the volunteers for It Takes a Village, which starts next week, so you need to sign up. I wish you Shabbat Shalom.